we go back one paragraph and just read the simile about the cowherd who guards the cows and stops them going into the crops, and now we'll go back one paragraph to the one just before that. So this goes as follows. Bhikkhus, whoever a bhikkhu frequently thinks and ponders upon them, that will become the inclination of his mind. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of sensual desire, then he has abandoned thoughts of renunciation to cultivate the thought of sensual desire. And then his mind inclines to thoughts of sensual desire. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon them, thoughts of ill will and thoughts of harming him, he will abandon the thoughts of non-harming him to cultivate the thought of harming him. And then his mind inclines to thoughts of harming him. So that is an interesting little paragraph there. And it basically, what it is saying is that your mind tends in certain directions depending upon past actions and past thoughts. So if you have tended in the past to think about sensual desire, you also think about sensual desires in the future, in the present moment. So it's not as if you can live day life and just do ordinary life, do whatever you want, and then go on retreat and change your mind completely. It doesn't work like that. You have to have the same inclination of mind that you have in ordinary life. It's an inclination of the mind that you will take with you, also when you go on retreat and when you go everywhere else. So you can't sort of compartmentalize and say this is one part of my life, this is another part of my life, but it all influences each other now. And this is why also very interesting, we have the, if you think about the idea of rebirth, the idea of rebirth is that the habits that you create in this life, they are the habits you take with you into your future life. So if you have a habit of getting angry and upset, if you have a habit of having lots of desires, you will have that also in the future life. So they're things you take with you now. And that's why it becomes urgent to do the practice now. Because next time around, you don't know, maybe you won't be born in the Buddhist country now. Maybe you're born in a country where Buddhism is disallowed, for example. Maybe you won't come across the teachings because the teachings have died out for any other reason. So this is your chance, and this is your opportunity now. And if you don't change your habits now, you will take them with you also into the future. And this also shows you why it is so difficult to change the mind, why it is so difficult to move towards renunciation and towards metta and compassion. Because these are habits, and they are very strong in the mind. And that's why we have to sort of continue doing the practice again and again and again to overcome those habits. In particular, you have to learn how to look at these things in a different way. And then when you see them in a different way, you can start to overcome these things. But there are strong tendencies in the mind, and that's why it is so hard. I'm sure many of you who have tried to kind of overcome anger or irritation, sometimes it can be very hard. It is, the same person. Often it is like with people, and some people have a tendency to irritate us or to be upset us for some reason. And if that person comes, then it's very difficult sometimes to stop us from actually having that habitual reaction that we always have toward this particular person. This is one of the problems, overcoming the habits, because they are so ingrained in us. So, as you keep thinking on thoughts of renunciation, or in particular I would say non-anger, like metta, compassion, and kindness, and slowly, the more you think about that, the more you move the mind in the direction where the habit becomes non-anger. And that's one reason why you do metta practice. Metta practice is about rehabilitating, changing the mind, rehabituating the mind, so you get a new habit in the mind. So you practice a lot of metta, you're thinking in a different way, you turn the mind around, and eventually the idea is to make this into a habit, so you think in a certain direction which is positive, and that becomes your habit instead. This is the purpose of some of these meditation practices that we do, to change the course and the inclination of the mind in a more positive direction. Yeah, when it says here that it thinks and ponders upon and thoughts of sensual desire, it basically means that the mind is preoccupied with sensual desire. not just thinking and pondering, it's the perception of the mind, the inclination, the kind of intention of the mind to go in that direction, which is meant by thinks and ponders. The Pali word of vitakka and vichara, so vichara and vitakka, and these have a very broad meaning of any kind of movement of the mind. Okay, so that is the inclination of the mind towards negative state. And then we come to the opposite aspect. So now the Buddha goes on to just talk about the other side. And this is where sometimes the Pali gets repetitive, because now it's saying everything again in exactly the same way, but from a positive side instead. So let's see how this goes. So, as I abided thus diligent or heedful and energetic and resolute, a thought of renunciation arose in me. I understood thus, this thought of renunciation has arisen in me. This does not lead to my own affliction, or to others' affliction, or to the affliction of both. It aids wisdom, does not cause difficulties, and leads to nirvana. If I think and ponder upon this thought, even for a night, even for a day, even for a night and day, I see nothing to fear from it. But with excessive thinking and pondering, I might tire my body, and when the body is tired, the mind becomes disturbed. And when the mind is disturbed, it is far from concentration. So I steadied my mind eternally and quieted it, brought it to singleness, and concentrated. Why is that? So that my mind should not be disturbed. And then the Buddha said the same thing for non-ill will or metta, non-harming, compassion, and the next paragraph. So this is all about these three main departments. So again, this time it was a thought of renunciation that arises in the mind. It's this idea that you see the danger in sensuality. So you see the thinking actually is now, I want to renounce this sensuality. That's a thought of renunciation. I want to give it up. The idea, I like to go on a meditation, but sit by myself in meditation. That is like a thought of renunciation there. So you're thinking in terms of the opposite of sensuality. You want to give this thing up. You think about the power of deep meditation, the power of samadhi, and how beautiful it is to experience that peace in the mind. You're thinking about renunciation essentially there. So, when you have that thought, then you know it does not lead to harm. Why is that? Because, again, a mind that renounces sensual pleasure is a clear mind. It's not a distorted mind. You see clearly and you understand what is right in the world. You don't have the conflict with other people, because when you have desires, and those desires sometimes are going to be the opposite of what other people want you to do. If you desire something which belongs to somebody else, or you desire something to the point where you might steal something, or you desire something for whatever reason, sometimes it causes conflict with others. But when you renounce, you give everything up, then there's no conflict anymore. The conflict disappears, both inside of yourself and also outside there. So renunciation leads away from conflict with others. And then you see clearly, you understand things as they actually are, because sensual desire leads to distortion of the mind. Think about this in your own life. How does it lead to distortion? So, for example, let's say you go to see something you really like, you get this incredible desire to buy something you see in the shop window, whatever it might be there. And then you buy this thing because the desire, the craving for this object is so great. You don't really know if you need it or whatever, but it looks very beautiful and you have to have it. And then later on, when the kind of the desire has passed, you think, why did I buy that for? It wasn't really all that useful then. This happens sometimes because the craving is strong. You think you need something which actually you don't need it. And you buy something because of that. But later on, you might regret it because it isn't. Again, it's a distortion of the mind which leads you to do things that you otherwise would not do. Just like anger, a desire both leads to this distortion in the mind. But when you go away from this, the opposite happens. The distortion disappears. Your mind becomes clear. You see things as they actually are. You know what other people want. You know how to treat them in the right way. You know what actually works because you have that clarity inside yourself. That is why renunciation actually, in this way, actually works so well. It does not lead to others' affliction, or to the affliction of both. It aids wisdom because you see clarity. Father here is Panya Buddhika. Buddhika means to increase, so it increases wisdom. It means to increase the wisdom. Does not lead to, does not cause difficulties. And when you have a sense of renunciation inside of yourself, you feel at ease. The mind doesn't feel hot, it feels relaxed, it feels at ease. There's no sense of trouble or harm inside the mind. And it leads to Nibbana, it leads to this beautiful state of peace, obviously, and whatever. Anyway, peace to Nibbana, that's really nice. And then he says that even if I think and ponder upon a thought like this, even for a night, even for a day, even for a night and day, I see nothing to fear from it, or I see no danger in it. In other words, it doesn't lead to the harm of anybody else. But with excessive thinking and pondering, I might tire my body. And when the body is tired, my mind becomes distressed. You tire the body, you know what it's like. After a long day, you have been working hard, you've been thinking, you've been pushing yourself, concentrating this and that. You feel tired. You want to go to bed, you want to lie down on the sofa or whatever, because you want to have a break. So the body, it wasn't just the mind, the body actually becomes tired physically. And then when the body is tired, the mind is usually also tired. These things go together. The mind is disturbed, the mind goes here and there, all over the place. It's not peaceful then. Again, you can see these things for yourself. If you just contemplate your own body and mind throughout the day, you'll see these things happen. And of course, when the mind is disturbed, when the mind is not at ease, not peaceful, because there's a sense of maybe harm even inside of you, then you cannot concentrate there. Because concentration comes from when the body calms down, the body becomes peaceful, and the mind also follows along with the body as it goes along here. And that's where concentration happens. So of course, the fascinating thing here is that you can see now the gradual progression of how we're supposed to practice it. First of all, you overcome the negative states of mind, the defilements, the problems of the mind. But then, once you overcome the negative states of mind, that is not enough. Then you have to overcome thinking altogether. But once you have overcome the negatives, then it actually is quite an easy step to overcome the aspects of the positive thinking. The negative things which are harder. Overcoming the positive, which he's talking about here, is much more easier. It's a much simpler thing to do. But if you really want to be relaxed at ease, then you have to overcome all the thinking of the mind. And then, only then, can you start to have concentration of the mind, the place where the mind really rests, where the mind is really relaxed, and everything is very easy and very beautiful. So I steadied my mind internally, quietly, and draw it to singleness and concentrated. Why is that? So that my mind should not be disturbed. So these words here, steadied my mind internally. This is just like when you focus on an object of meditation, the mind becomes steady, it doesn't move anymore. It quiets it down. In other words, the mind becomes peaceful. This doesn't just mean that you don't think very much, you don't have all this chatter inside of your head. It means that the mind doesn't move so much, it starts to become very still, it's become quieted down. Drawn to singleness, to full focus on one object in meditation practice. And then concentration, which is the samadhi. And he did that so that mind should not be disturbed. And this is the reason why this is so important. That this is really the only way to have a holiday. This is the only way to sort of re-energize yourself fully. When you do this, the mind stops being tired. The mind gets energy, the mind gets a sense of ease, and everything is very beautiful. And that is why this is so important. So if you really want a holiday, right, don't go to Paris, don't go to wherever, take a holiday inside. This is a real holiday. I'm always been so amazed, people go on holiday somewhere, and they say, oh, I feel so tired, I'm on this holiday, I'm running around from shop to shop, and doing this. And I think it's terrible, because it must be relaxed on a holiday. But actually, people get stressed out. But if you take a kind of holiday inside, that is really relaxing and really stress-free. So that is the ideal kind of holiday. So this is what the Buddha said here. I want to take a real holiday, basically. So I want to have my mind not be disturbed, have it relaxed and energized. Then it says, the next paragraph And then he does the same thing with other types of good thoughts. As a wise does, a heedful, energetic and resolute, a thought of non-ill will, metta if you like, arose in me, a thought of non-harming arose in me, of compassion. I understood thus, this thought of non-harming has arisen in me. This does not lead to my own affliction, or to the affliction of others, or to the affliction of both. It aids wisdom, does not cause difficulties, and leads to nirvana. This is a beautiful thought, in other words. These are the beautiful thoughts. They don't lead to any problems in the world. But if I think and ponder upon this thought, even for a night, even for a day, even for a night or a day, I see nothing to fear from it. But with excessive thinking and pondering, I might tire my body. And when the body is tired, the mind becomes disturbed. And when the mind is disturbed, it is far from concentration. So I studied my mind internally. Why is it brought into singleness and concentrated it? Why is that? So my mind should not be disturbed. So again, the same thing. These are beautiful thoughts, and they're not actually dangerous. They don't lead to any problems. But still, there is the danger that the mind actually eventually becomes tired when you do it. That is where the problem arises. I should say one thing maybe on the word concentration here, which is used in there. And this is sometimes a slightly unfortunate translation of Brahmali, because what is concentration? How do we normally understand that word? And the way it is normally understood is that you go to work or you go to school and you focus on what you're doing, and that's sort of concentration, where you focus on what you're doing at work and school. You have to put willpower into it. You know, you've been a long day at the office, you put a lot of, particularly if there's a report you have to read, and it's not really interesting, it's boring, and if you have to do it, it's part of your job. But the only way you can do that is by forcing the mind to some extent to read that report. You have to put pressure on the mind. When you have to write something, you don't really want to write it. It's the same thing again. You have to put pressure. So the ordinary concentration, ordinary life, always means a sense of willpower into this. But that's not what it meant by this. Concentration here means just the ability to focus on one thing. But it's a natural ability. It's an ability which arises as a consequence of your practice, not as a consequence of willpower. So again, sometimes one has to be a little bit careful with how these words are used in the English language. There may not be a perfect translation, but I think concentration sometimes can lead people astray and think of these things in the wrong kind of way. That sort of concentration, the concentration that you use when you use force, leads to the mind becoming tired. That's why you feel tired after a long day at work, when you force yourself. Or it can lead to restlessness because the mind becomes very agitated. It does not lead to peace. It does not lead to the sort of thing that you want on the Buddhist path. So, then comes the simile again. I think the simile first, I'll skip one paragraph. And the simile example as follows. Just as in the last month of the hot season, when all the crops have been brought inside the villages, the cowherd would guard his cows, or stand at the root of a tree or out in the open, since he needs only be mindful that the cows are there. So too, there was need for me only to be mindful that those states were there. So again, you can see here, this is the idea, the difference between the cowherd. He always has to make sure the cows are in the right place because he has fear of punishment. Now this cowherd here has no fear of punishment anymore. That's what it means. The wholesome stance, you don't have to be afraid of them because there's no punishment involved with a wholesome stance. So that's what it's doing. You're just sitting back and relaxing. It means you can relax. When the wholesome states are there, you can just have awareness. You can relax for the first time. You don't have to be so vigilant anymore about these things. And then comes the thing about the inclination of the mind, the figures. Whenever a figure frequently thinks and ponders upon them, that will become the inclination of the mind. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of renunciation, he has abandoned the thought of sensual desire to cultivate the thought of renunciation. And then his mind inclines to thoughts of renunciation. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of metta, of compassion, of non-harming, he has abandoned the thought of harming to cultivate the thought of non-harming. Then his mind inclines to you don't have to be so careful anymore, because the natural way your mind tends to think tends to be in terms of kindness and compassion. And you can see this in the world. You see that there are some people in society who are very friendly and have generally a good state of mind and are positive and kind. That is because at some stage, maybe in the past life or whatever, they have cultivated that mind. So they have a mind which is leaning in that direction. And then you have other people who tend to be angry quite often and frequently. And again, it's because they have cultivated that thing in the past at some stage. And you can see how people's character tends very often to be the same. An angry person is very often angry. Often goes with that person's character over many, many years. A kind person very often tends to be kind over many, many years. It doesn't change very fast. So the character tends to be stable. That's why it is called a character trait, or an inclination of the mind. So you have to actually work to change this inclination, and that is the problem. So then comes the interesting part here, that all this has been done, well, everything is interesting really, but this is also interesting. Tireless energy was aroused in me, and unremitting mindfulness was established. My body was tranquil and untroubled. My mind concentrated and reflected. And this shows you, and what is interesting here, at this point you have what he says, unremitting mindfulness. It means like state of mindfulness. Mindfulness which doesn't cease or change or whatever. Strong, clear mindfulness. So this is where mindfulness arises. And of course, the point is here that the reason mindfulness arrives at this point is because you have let go of the defilements. That's why. You can see here that with the ending of the defilements, this is what causes mindfulness. It's a very important thing, and it's something that most people don't understand, don't see clearly. They think as long as they go on a retreat, mindfulness will come. A little bit of mindfulness comes, but in the end, the defilements will stop you unless you have purified yourself. It's very important. So if you want to have success in meditation, you're going to have to purify your mind of these defilements and of these problems that are there. And not only does the mindfulness become a standard, but tireless energy is around it. Tireless energy is the natural energy of the mind, the virya, which comes at this particular point. You can see that in many places in the Sutta. You can see, for example, the Bodhangas. The Bodhangas are the top factors of awakening, of enlightenment. And you see in the Bodhangas, for those of you who know a little bit about this thing, the first Bodhanga is the Sati Bodhanga, the factor of awakening, which is mindfulness. The second one is the investigation of states. Investigation of states means understanding your mind. It means understanding the good states of mind, the bad states of mind, being able to differentiate between them, understand what defilements are, what the pure mind is, what is blameworthy is, what is not blameworthy is. So it means understanding the defilements. And then, once you have understood that, then the energy is aroused. So you can see here how the understanding of the states, energy and mindfulness all revolve around each other. So energy comes with mindfulness. The pure mind, it tends to be an energetic mind. And mind full of defilements tends to lose its energy very quickly. Whereas an energy which is not so wholesome, it's more like it's often energy which is more driven by craving and will rather than peaceful, beautiful kind of energy. So, tireless energy, unremitting mindfulness. At this point, that you are ready, really ready to do meditation proper. Now, we can really do the mindfulness of breathing. Until now, the mindfulness of breathing is going to work a little bit, but going to work so well. And at this point, you're actually ready to do mindfulness of breathing 100%, because the mind is pure. That is what I said before. You have to establish that mindfulness established. It says at the beginning in the Anapanasati Sutta, mindfulness has to be established. This is how it's done. So it is how you live your life in general. It is also when you do sit down and you meditate, you have to observe your mind. What state is your mind? Don't just sort of blindly follow some instruction. And if you observe your mind state, you see that there is a problem there, you have a small irritation, or you are not really contented, not really happy. And the first thing to do is to overcome that defilement of the mind. So if there's a small irritation, then turn the mind. Actually, we'll come to this afterwards, how to overcome the negative states of mind. But the first thing to do is to overcome that, and then we can have the mindfulness that leads to meditation practice. So two things. It is every time you sit down, you check your mind and purify it. It is also the long-term purification that happens through daily life, through actions of daily life. Two aspects of this. And because it is only now that we can meditate, it's only now that we can do anapanasati or satipatthana. That is also why it's only now that the body becomes tranquil and untroubled, and the mind becomes concentrated and unified. You attain samadhi, you attain the beautiful peace inside the mind, the one pointedness of mind, because meditation is working. And that is what happens when meditation is working. And you watch the breath, and gradually the mind moves towards this particular state. So, there you are. This is all very practical, that's why I like it. It shows you how the practice works. And this to me is some of the most wonderful aspects of the Sutta, that it actually gives you very clear guidance on how to practice, what to do in your life, how you're going to achieve real results. Of course, the theory and doctrine is also important, but the practical aspect is certainly very important. And then, because the Buddha, or the Buddha-to-be, has come to this point, then the next thing that happens here is quite secluded from sensual pleasures. Then there is the whole list of the 4 jhanas, of the 3 higher knowledges. In other words, are recollecting past lives, understanding the laws of karma, and also making the final breakthrough to awaken the destruction of all the defilements of the mind. That comes up. I haven't left it out for now, because I will maybe talk a bit about those later on. Just maybe one little comment, quite secluded from sensual pleasures. I think a better translation of that would be secluded, quite secluded from the object of the 5 senses. I think is a better translation. It is an unusual translation, you probably haven't heard it before. And the reason is because the word sensual pleasure in Pali is karma. The word karma seems to have 2 different meanings in the singular and the plural. Meanings are different. In the singular, it seems to refer usually to the defilement of the mind, the desire. In the plural, it refers to the actual objects of the senses. So I think the proper translation here is quite secluded from the sense objects. In other words, the objects of the 5 senses. Anyway, I'll talk more about that later on. Possibly see what happens. Then he comes towards the end. Towards the full enlightenment at the end there, and it says that this was the 3rd true knowledge attained by the 3rd watch of the mind. Ignorance was banished, true knowledge arose, darkness was banished, and light arose, as happens if one would abide, diligent, ardent, and resolute. So, okay, I'll just briefly mention here as well, because I think this is very important. And these are, the Buddha has just talked about the 3 high knowledges. And the first of those high knowledges are the recollection of previous lives, about rebirths. So, and you can see what the Buddha says about the recollection, and the way that he talks about the recollection of rebirth is exactly the same as he talks about this 3rd knowledge. So, ignorance will vanish, true knowledge arose. This is, he's talking about rebirth. Ignorance is vanished, true knowledge arose. He's not talking about an enlightenment experience, but about rebirth. Of course, enlightenment experience is the same, but just even rebirth has ignorance was vanished. It's powerful, when we talk about whether rebirth is important in Buddhism or not. The Buddha says, understanding rebirth, seeing rebirth, is to abolish ignorance and give rise to true knowledge. Very, very powerful statement. Why? Because you see samsara for the first time for what it actually is. You understand the predicament you are in for the first time. You understand the problem. And when you see the big picture, only then can you start to act according to that big picture. Prior to that, you're in the darkness. You don't really know what you're doing. Once you see this, ignorance is vanished, true knowledge arises. It's a very powerful statement about rebirth. And then he says even more, darkness was banished and light arose. Darkness is bad. It's not seeing rebirth, it's darkness. Why? Because you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't understand what the problem is. But seeing it, now you understand for the first time what the problem really is. And the point is also that there is an enormous difference between having the idea in your head that there is rebirth and actually seeing it. The idea is enough to make you a little bit sort of worried, but actually seeing it, I think that is what is really about. That is why the Buddha will always recall, that's why he recalls the past life before attempts fall away, because the power of that experience. It turns you away, it shows you the danger, it shows you what's really going on there. So I'm just saying this thing because sometimes you hear people say, oh, rebirth and all that, it seems a bit superstitious, but rebirth is fundamental to the Buddhist way of thinking. That rebirth, there isn't really anything really to be concerned about. So anyway, so just that's just a little bit more profounder things. Then there was also a beautiful simile at the end here, which I will just read out and maybe comment a little bit. And the Buddha says, suppose, monks, that in a wooded range there was a great low-lying marsh, near which a large herd of deer lived. That a man appeared desiring the ruin, harm, and bondage. And he closed off the safe and good path and led to their happiness. And he opened up the false path, and he put out the decoy and sent up a dummy, so that the large herd of deer might later come upon calamity, disaster, and loss. But another man came desiring their good welfare and protection, and he reopened the safe and good path that led to the happiness, and he closed off the false path, and he removed the decoy and destroyed the dummy, so that the large herd of deer might later come to grow, increase, and fulfillment. Because I have given this simile in order to convey the meaning. This is the meaning. The great low-lying marsh is a term for sensual pleasures. The large herd of deer is a term for beings. The man desiring their ruin, harm, and bondage is a term for Mara, the evil one. The false path is a term for the wrong, hateful path, that is wrong view, wrong intention, wrong speech, wrong action, wrong livelihood, wrong effort, wrong mindfulness, and wrong concentration. The decoy is a term for delight and lust. The dummy is a term for ignorance. The man desiring the good welfare and protection is a term for the Tathagata, accomplished fully enlightened. The safe and good path that led to the happiness is a term for the noble eightfold path, that is, right view, etc., to right concentration. Then the Buddha says, so much, the safe and good path that leads to happiness has been reopened by me. The wrong path has been closed off. The decoy removed, the dummy destroyed. So, a nice simile there. The Buddha basically says that I have attained awakening. It's like he's making a claim that I have attained awakening. That's what he says. He says that the path has been reopened, the decoy has been removed, the dummy destroyed. That's what attaining awakening means. And of course, reopening the path means, first of all, discovering the path, and then teaching that path to others. So now, for the first time, you have the path. Whereas in the past, you didn't have the path, that led to, it says here very strongly, calamity, disaster, and loss. That's what happens to beings when they don't practice the right path. And it's not this, you may think that it just happens to some beings, the ones that are bad. It happens to all of us eventually. Eventually, you will get reborn in a place that is not nice. Eventually, you will have friends who influence you in the wrong way and take you in the wrong direction. So don't think that it's only the bad people this happens with, because the badness and goodness is just conditions that act upon us. And we can all be bad sometimes, and we can all be good sometimes. So we change from life to life. So eventually, we all get reborn in a place which is very unpleasant. That's just the nature of these things. The great low-lying marsh, term for sensual pleasures. We'll notice here how the sensual pleasures are called low, and the reason for that is because there are other pleasures that are much, much higher than the sensual pleasures. It was difficult to see these things and to experience it for yourself. The large herd of deer is a term for being, and it's a fascinating idea, this term of being like a herd of deer. Imagine, I don't know if you have seen these kind of documentaries about herds of deer. I've seen it myself in real life sometimes. The herd of deer like this large flock of animals, and they're roaming around, and suddenly they go to the left, and they go to the right, and they run very fast, they are afraid of their surroundings, and it's like they have no purpose. All they're doing is just reacting to the surroundings. The wind is going one way, they see a dangerous human, so they go in a different direction, they see some food, so they go another direction again. They're just a product of the cause and conditions around them. And here the Buddha is saying beings are just like that, including human beings. We are, in a sense, like a ship on the ocean, without a rudder, without any way of steering, and we are subject to the currents and the winds that move the ship around on the ocean without direction, without any purpose in life. That is what beings really tend to be like. Why is that? How can that be? Because we feel inside that we have purpose, we feel like we are moving in certain direction. And the reason is, of course, because of this idea of non-self. We are a product of our circumstances, of our conditioning, of all the causes that actually lie out around us. That is what we really are. We feel independent, we feel like we make all these choices. And those choices are also a product of cause and conditions that influence us all the time. And because we are a product of external things, or our own internal conditioning from a past life, because we are these products, we're like a herd of deer, rapidly moving around, depending on cause and conditions. And it's quite frightening in a sense to think about it like that, because it means that once the conditioning is bad, you may feel good in this life, you're maybe a Buddhist, maybe practicing well, practicing all the good things. And that's wonderful, but you just don't know when the conditioning is going to change and take you in a different direction. And often there's nothing much you can do about that, you just get dragged along. So that is an important thing to remind yourself of. Because it doesn't appear that way. It appears like we're in charge. But really, the Buddha said, we're not in charge. And that is one of the problems. So the large herd of deer is a term for beings. The man desiring their ruin, harm, and bondage is a term for Mara, the evil one. Now, the most important aspect of Mara for a person who is intent on practicing meditation is the internal Mara inside your mind, the Mara of desire, the Mara of ill will, etc. The Mara which takes you away and drags you in the wrong direction. That is the most important Mara, the psychological Mara. Because there's always the temptation to follow sensual pleasures, to follow the cravings, always there. And it can be very strong, very powerful, that temptation. And that temptation is Mara saying, oh, don't bother, this is the right time to enjoy yourself. Yes, we should enjoy ourselves, but do it in the right way. It's okay to go on holiday to wherever every now and again, and do it well, do it nicely. And it's not a serious, indulgent potential pleasure to go on holiday. So I would certainly recommend you to do that sometimes. But know that you're doing things in the right way, properly, and then you are basically going in the right direction. So watch out for the inner Mara. Then you have the false path. The false path, of course, is the path that starts off with wrong view, and because you have wrong view, all the other factors afterwards tend to also have a certain wrongness about them. The decoy is a term for delight and lust. This other, basically again referring to sensual pleasures or even the desire for existence or anything which sort of drags you in the wrong direction, really. That's why it's a decoy. The dummy is a term for ignorance. Okay. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but anyway, that's not that. And then the man deserving the good welfare and protection is the Buddha, accomplished and fully enlightened. And this is, I think, one of the beautiful things about the Buddha. And this is one of the things that makes me trust his teaching so much. If what he claims in the Sutta is correct, I don't think there's any reason to not think so, then he is awakened, he has understood the reality. He has no selfishness anymore. He doesn't do anything for himself. The only reason why the Buddha teaches the Dhamma is out of compassion for other people. If you do teach the Dhamma out of compassion, it means you can trust the Buddha 100%. So you can trust the suttas, you can trust what the Buddha said. And even though sometimes it may seem a bit, you feel it's a bit harsh, and you think, oh, this is too much, I don't know how to deal with it. You know that he does it out of kindness towards you, out of compassion for you, because he wants to help you. And that is so beautiful, and that's why you can take on this teaching, and even though you may feel that it's too much sometimes, and you don't know what to do about it, at the very least, you know it is coming from compassion. So you don't reject it, just put it to one side for the time being. And it's so wonderful to know that you have a teacher in the end who just is acting for your compassion, your benefit, out of compassion for you. Isn't that a wonderful concept? It's like this sort of makes the whole path very light and very beautiful, because you have somebody who just is acting for your benefit. No ill will, no selfishness, no anger, just compassion, metta, and kindness. So that means the Buddha acts out of compassion. Everything he taught is always out of compassion for beings. Then he says that he has, and that path, of course, that he has opened up is the Noble Eightfold Path. And all the things that I've been teaching today are part of that Noble Eightfold Path. There's a different way of looking at it. And then the Buddha says at the end here, he says, what should be done for his disciples? I, out of compassion by a teacher who seeks their welfare and has compassion for them, that I have done for you monks. There are these roots of trees, these empty huts. Meditate, practice jhana, the word jaya here. Practice jhana, monks. Do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. So, the Buddha teaches, he does everything he can out of kindness and compassion, and then it is up to us to follow the instructions. It's not always easy, sometimes we find it harder, but it is the most worthwhile thing that anybody can do in their lives to follow the instructions. There are these roots of trees. Go somewhere peaceful and quiet, do some meditation, and do not delay, because you will regret it later on. Regretting it, imagine, that you have been taught by these beautiful teachings for a full life, you have seen, you have sort of understood that these things are important, and then you haven't practiced properly, and then you get to the end of your life, and you think back and you think, I had a chance, I had the opportunity, why did I take it? And also the reason why you don't take it, you think that life is going to go on for a long time in the future, you have more time to do it later on. You don't have time to do it later on, the only time you have is now. That is so important to remember that. Because if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? Because tomorrow it's just going to be like today. So tomorrow you also say, oh, don't have to do it now, do it later. It just keeps running off like that. So now is really the time. Now is the time to be kind and good. Now is the time to be peaceful. There is no other time. Otherwise you will end up regretting it at the end of your life. That is what the Blessed One said, because was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So, that is the Sutta, the two types of thought. Sutta which I find very meaningful and very powerful. So, now I think it is a good time to have a little bit of a rest. So, what I suggest is let's just stretch our legs a little bit for 5 or 10 minutes and come back and do a bit of meditation afterwards.